I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Sinus Infection.
I'm Coach Margaret, poor Craig has a sinus infection.
Again, and today we're going to be talking about difficult days.
Even when you don't have a sinus infection.
Yeah, obviously today is Valentine's Day and we know that many of you are really struggling because when you're going through a breakup and any major holiday hits, it's a real reminder that that person is no longer in your life and you're thinking about previous days, holidays, how you spent it together, what you may have been planning for this year, and that they're no longer around.
Right, and I think this is the worst day of all because this is all about couples, right?
It can be. I find that Christmas might be Christmas or
Christmas?
yeah, that's a really rough one too.
Yeah, Christmas is pretty hard too.
That's a special day for
Right.
a lot of people that they
Right.
want to spend that holiday
Right.
with that person,
Yep.
you know. But you know, we've done numerous videos on Valentine's Day, so we just thought we'd talk in general about difficult days. I did want to share, for those of you that are interested, I have 5 previous videos on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you, I'll put a link to these videos in the description. Okay. I have already, should I break no contact for Valentine's Day? No contact in Valentine's Day? Missing your ex on Valentine's Day? Should I give my ex a Valentine's Day gift? And Valentines Day Struggles.
Oh,
so
wow.
We've got
You've
5
kinda covered the,
videos
yeah.
on Valentine's Day. So
Right.
we thought we would just talk about how there are many difficult days after a breakup.
Many. And Valentine's Day especially, if you turn the TV on today or the radio on today or look on your computer, it's all going to be about happy couples and expensive Valentine candy and places you can go together. And somewhere in the American consciousness, I think, is the idea that unless you're part of a couple, you're less than. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly not true.
Yeah.
You're a whole person before you're part of a couple. There's even a song, you're nobody till somebody loves you. I mean, it's nice for somebody to love you. We all want that. But you're not nobody.
Yeah.
Okay? Ever. So, it can be hard. And I'm sure it's easy to spend the day looking at the phone, right?
Yeah. And a lot of you guys are probably going to be thinking, will my ex reach out on Valentine's Day? You know, in my experience, I don't see a lot of people hear from an ex on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is just too tricky, I think. Yeah, so it would probably be after that you'd be most likely to hear from them.
Well, and here's my thoughts about this, Margaret.
Okay.
You know, I teach you guys about the indirect direct approach. That
Right.
when your ex often does have the courage to reach out, it's very indirect and very confusing. They're very rarely saying something like, I miss you. It's usually like, I miss the cat. Right? And I've said that for years.
We all know about that cat.
Exactly. That cat. I'm telling you, I'm never going to get another cat.
Everyone loves that cat. Yeah.
I'm never going to get another cat, Margaret. I love cats, but I'm not ever getting another cat because it'll just wind up in a breakup.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you.
There you
No
go.
more cats.
No more cats.
I'll just pet them on the street.
Okay.
But what I see happen a lot is, you know, around Valentine's Day, your ex is going to think about you, but they're going to steer clear of it. And here's my thinking.
Okay.
If they did reach out to you, it would feel to them too obvious.
And they're not ready to be obvious and upfront yet. They would feel much better with the direct indirect.
That's right.
So I bought your cat some chocolates?
Yeah, exactly. So I think the exes don't often reach out because then it's like, you know why
Right.
they're contacting you.
Right.
And that's too forward for them.
Very good
They don't
point.
want to put their cards out on the table.
Right.
They're only willing to dip their toe in the pool.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, they're confused. Right? They don't know what to say to you. They don't know if you want them back.
No.
They don't know if you're angry, if you've moved on. And they're afraid of rejection too.
It's much safer to find out how your cat's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to have the courage to reach out on a date centered around love and romance.
Right.
Because that's like saying, hey, I miss you.
Right.
It's Valentine's Day.
And I still think you're cute. Yes.
And I think that's just too much
Yeah.
for people to do.
Sure. Yeah.
But, you know,
Will your ex think about you?
absolutely.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
would agree. Yeah.
You know, how could they not?
How could they?
Even if they're dating other people, it's not like they could just forget about you. At some point, you're going to come up for them during the day. And they're probably thinking to check your social media
Right.
and see what's going on with you.
Sure. Sure.
But there are a lot of difficult days after a breakup. Some are worse than others.
Some are worse than others.
You know, and I think some of that has to do with your own routine or their routine. Like maybe there was a certain day of the month that you guys did a particular thing.
Right.
You know, a monthly event. Or maybe we always went to the first game of the basketball season together.
Right.
Or this first
All those
spring
things.
training games
All
together.
those things.
Those
yeah.
things. We always used to go to this particular movie together.
Yeah.
Right?
And we always went to this restaurant on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, throughout a year, there are going to be days that remind you. Maybe, like, for me, I'm sure there are certain movies that come out that when my ex sees those movies, they
She
can't
thinks of you.
help but think
She
about
thinks
me.
of you, of course.
It would be
And
impossible.
And songs, too.
Yeah, sure.
Songs are very, very powerful. Oh, I remember listening to this when I was with Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there are going to be days where you're doing a little bit better, and then there are going to be days where you're just devastated and you can't stop thinking of them.
But you're not crazy. You're normal. It's normal to do that. You once had major feelings for this person, and while, you know, those will diminish over time, you're not going to forget. This was somebody who was important in your life. So you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this, but it may be a little bit difficult.
And there will be times
Yeah.
where it's difficult, nights where you're having a really hard time sleeping.
Yep.
I'm constantly amazed throughout any given week how many people will tell me, I listen to you while I sleep.
I know, we're totally amazed by that. But people tell both of us, I use you to go to sleep. I put you guys on
Yeah.
and listen while I go to sleep.
The
Well,
Listen While I Sleep
I'm
playlist.
so happy it helps.
Yeah.
I mean, great. If that reduces your anxiety, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, it's not a bad idea to plan what to do on Valentine's Day. Go do something you enjoy with a friend, perhaps.
Even if you don't feel like
Even
it.
especially if you don't feel like it. Don't sit around and mope. You know, not that you don't have to feel your feelings, you do. But on a particularly difficult day, make a plan for yourself so you don't get too far down and too upset.
Yeah.
Okay? And reach out. Okay? If you're young, you probably have many friends who are in the relationship game at that point, and you know some of them are going to be having a difficult day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, spend it together rather than separately.
Now, Margaret, would you say that there's any tips for people out there that are having a rough day, maybe not even on Valentine's Day, that just one day they wake up and they're just anxious, they can't eat,
Right.
they
and
haven't
they're
slept.
Still upset. They're picturing this guy. Well, I think the first and foremost, you need to remind yourself that you're not crazy. That this is normal behavior and a normal reaction to losing a loved one. And then I think you have to remember that losing a loved one involves grief. And grief is a normal, natural process where you name the feelings and feel the feelings. And remind yourself there isn't anything wrong with you for having the feelings. We'd be more worried about you if you didn't have them. Okay, that would mean you were totally detached.
Yeah.
So you're healthy, you're still able to connect, and you're simply doing a normal, natural process, which is grieving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But do anything you can that works for you. Whatever helps you. Your favorite music, your favorite movie, a book of really terrible jokes, whatever gets your mind off things.
Yep.
Use
Maybe
it. Yeah.
go out to a live event, maybe
Yeah.
some stand-up comedy or
Sure. Stand-up
music.
comedy's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a couple of funny people out there.
I do too.
Actually, one of my good friends, Preacher, is in the finals again for America's Got Talent.
Good for him.
And
I haven't
he's
happened to catch him, and I like that
Yeah,
show.
he's on the championship
Oh, I gotta
series
see
right
him.
now.
All right.
And I've known him for many, many years.
Yeah.
Probably like 8 years. He used to come to
Yeah.
my show every Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And he would be there. So
Cool.
I know him really well, and I'm really excited for him. Look him up, Preacher Lawson. Really funny guy.
Okay.
So
And
that'd
then-
be someone you could check out.
Right. And then there's always humor. And remember, when we use humor, we're never, ever making light or fun of anybody's pain. But humor can help a lot.
Yeah.
And I happen to see some things that children say about love and marriage. And there's a little heart you can see. So this was designed for Valentine's Day viewing,
All right.
to lighten things up a little bit. And this is kids' comments on love and marriage. This was a little guy. How do you decide who to marry? And this is a little guy named Alan, and he's 10. And he says, you gotta find somebody who likes the same stuff. Like if you like sports, she should like it that you like sports. And she should bring the chips and dips and keep them coming. That's what Alan says about how to choose someone.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. And this is Kristen, age 10. She says, no person really decides before they grow up who they're going to marry. God decides it all way before. And you get to find out later who you're stuck with. That was from
Who you're stuck
who
with.
you're stuck with, okay?
All right. Thanks, Kristen. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
What is the right age to get married? Well, Camille, who's 10, says 23 is the best age because you know a person forever by then.
Absolutely.
You can tell she's young, can't you? Yes. You've known somebody forever, yeah. This is Freddie. Freddie is 6. Freddie says no age is a good age to get married at. You gotta be a fool to get married.
Which one of his parents do you think he heard that from?
Well, yeah, I know. That's why kids are so fun. You know they heard it somehow. How can a stranger tell if two people are married? Married people usually look happy to talk to other people, says Eddie, age 6. The next one's one of my favorites. You might have to guess based on whether they seem to be yelling at the same kids, says Derek, age 8.
That's funny.
What do most people do on a date? Dates are for having fun, and people should use them to get to know each other. Even boys have something to say if you listen long enough.
Eventually, we'll get something out.
And I believe that was Camille. One more. The rule goes like this. If you kiss somebody, then you should marry them and have kids with them. It's the right thing to do,
It's the right thing.
says Howard, age 8.
Thank you, Howard. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I love what the kids have to say. And you always know they heard it from their parents somehow.
And like I said, I've done so many no contact and Valentine's
Yeah.
Day videos before. We thought we'd just make it a little bit more general because we know there are going to be a lot of difficult days
Right.
where you're struggling, and just know that it's normal.
Yeah, please, that's the most important thing. You're not going crazy. It's normal. And grief is healthy, even though it's not comfortable.
And, you know, when you find yourself in those days, just realize you'll feel better tomorrow.
Yes, and it's important to realize, and when you feel really bad, lots of times it feels like it's going to be forever, but it's really not. And always pet your cat or your dog or your goldfish if you're having a down day. It helps.
All right. So if you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is also available for Skype coaching.
I am available. I would love to talk with you if you want to sign up with me.
Just remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you like podcasts, I have a bunch of podcasts listed. Just search because I'm on all the major podcast platforms. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.